start things off. The swift kick fielded straight up the gut. Running room and more. To the 40, to the 30, down to the 20, 10-5, touchdown Commodores. Woo. Matthew Williams. Just like you draw it up. If you're Maury.
Pretty nice start to a state. And welcome you to another edition of On the Hash with Hatfield and 757 Sports Talk. Glad you're with us here, and a happy holidays to one and all as we get ready to turn the calendar from 2025 to 2026. Matt Hatfield here with you with a special guest. He is the head football coach of the reigning, not one, not two, but three-time state champion Maury Commodores. It's actually his fourth ring total with a record. I think it's something like 116. He's won over 87% of his games. 8 straight regional titles. We say hello, happy holidays, happy New Year, and congrats to Coach Dyrri McCain. Coach, this never gets old, does it? Celebrating a state championship, especially this year where you had a lot of obstacles and a lot of doubters, a lot of naysayers. Looked like it might not happen for you, and you got it done.
Yeah, man, it feels good. I mean, before I even get to that point, man, I want to ask you, how was your Christmas, man, and your start to that happy holiday part? How was yours?
Not the greatest, but that's okay. We power through, we march on, but nonetheless, we get ready for 2026 because the years they go by quicker. Yeah. And we'll get to you now being a fatherhood too. We'll have that come up on the screen as well with a picture of your little one. But it came early for you guys this year at Maury because, and I'll be perfectly honest, we'll get to it. I thought you guys were going to be in a bit of trouble when you ran into a state semifinal opponent on the road without your leading tackler. But before we even delve into that, you're coming off back-to-back, and you graduate literally. I mean, people don't understand the amount of talent that you graduated from the season before. I think it was 9 all-state guys, 6 guys that went to Division I college football, 5 that went to Power 5 programs. It'd be very easy to say, well, you know what, this might not be our time to do it, but the standard is the standard at Maury now, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that's credit to a bunch of the guys. And again, just we had 7 guys leave from that team before that went and played Division I football, not 6. So losing that many guys, man, and being able to do what we do, man, it's just a testament to the culture of the kids, the guys, the coaches, what the program is and what it's always been about. Nobody's bigger than the program, myself included. There's no coach, there's no player that's bigger than what the ultimate goal is. And, we are all in it together, man, just as – I know my face is on everything, and everything that has to do with the program. I get that my face is on it, but stuff like that doesn't happen if those guys that you got the Tayshawn Branch or Damo Everett, when you got those guys and Isaiah Simmons, and all those guys do a great job. But guys who help us on scout team, and the guys who do all the extra dirty work to get stuff off the bus and get stuff placed and put stuff on the bus after games. Just everybody that's included in what we're doing is just equally as important. And I truly believe that. I don't, it's not a saying. Everybody that's a part of what we're doing is important. So that's pretty much why, it continues to be what it is. And just the next guy pretty much steps from what he puts work in for.
Let me go back to sort of your arrival at Maury, because you came to Maury where you played. We know about Maury's history, guys that have gone to the NFL like Cam Chancellor and Vincent Painter. You played for Delton Cotton. But for you as a student of the game, and you were the OC there dialing up the shots when you had DJ Mack and EJ Faison and all those guys, Kevin Marks at Norview, and put up some major numbers there before you even arrived as a head coach at Maury. But take me through the student of the game part of this for you, because I've been asked, even got asked during the state championship broadcast we had on the NFHS network, and you saw that opening kickoff from Matt Williams to start things off against Highland Springs in that title game in early December. I guess it's early to mid-December. But where do you really study most of your concepts and the way you dial things up offensively, design things up? Some people get the sense it's a lot of Big 12 type of offensive formations and creativity, if you will. Take us through your mindset and how you put things into place regardless of the personnel you have.
Well, first of all, I want to shout out Matt Williams. I talked to him earlier today. Great kickoff return. I know you brought him up, so I just want to make sure I shout him out. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to that, it's just like it's always been a student of the game. I always knew that I wanted to coach when I was playing the game. And even to the point, man, when I started to get involved in coaching, I started to love coaching more than I started to love playing when I was able to kind of do both still. Just paying attention to any and everybody, man. I love the game. I pay attention to the game, NFL, college. It can be great teams. It can be not so great teams. I think there's always a way to learn. There's a bunch of clinics and coaches that I sit down with over our off time and off season, just trying to figure out what can fit, what can't fit, what we can do, what we can't do, and just making it gel to the guys that we have, and not trying to, make football hard. I mean, I guess it may look complicated to people outside looking in, but I want to make it as easy as possible for the guys that are here. And for the guys that are on this new team, I say it all the time, like, I never tried to make Torrey's team Keandre Lambert's and those guys' offense. I never tried to make, Damo's offense into what Torrey's offense was, and whoever else would have stepped in at quarterback, if Matt would have had to step in at quarterback or whatever. It's not about trying to make those guys, the other guys, trying to make LeBron into Keandre Lambert-Smith. It was never going to be that. So it just comes from clinics, just a long time of paying attention. I've always been a guy since I was even playing here in high school, of just always taking notes, keeping stuff throughout the years, always, as much as I was a game plan studier when I was in high school and college for our own scheme and what we were trying to do, and just being a student of the game then, it was always in the back of my mind of being a coach in the long run. So just kind of taking my notes then when I was 16, 17, and even when I went to college when I was 19, 20, 21, just still kind of taking those notes from people that either came in to call offense, came in that were head coaches, and all of those different trees and different people that I learned stuff from, just pretty much just kind of stuck with me and just making it into my own. I didn't create or invent any wheel or new things. I just, what I did I did a good job of paying attention. I'm gonna just say that. I did a good job of paying attention, whether it was good or bad. I think you can learn from both situations. So it was just taking in, paying attention, man, and just making it my own, and just putting people around me that are able to pretty much help me do what I do, man. And it's a bunch of people that help me be what it looks to be. And I get that I'm going to get the end name or praise of everything, but it's some people around me that help me do what I do.
No, I can appreciate that. You're being honest with it. And let me quick follow-up before you then dive into your journey here, the team, the players, and this whole Maury 2025 campaign. So for you, where do you think you evolved most from year one as a coach to just finishing up your ninth season? My gosh, you've done this 9 years now. I'm really getting old now, as are you. But and 8 region titles, the 4 state championships. Where do you think that acceleration or evolution came the most for you? Was there any element or part that you kind of look back at and say, this helped me move forward quicker?
So I would say just that's a great question, Matt. I would say that I became a better coach over the years, and from the start, from then to now, really just staying consistent. I think the biggest thing that I've learned is, don't let the success change what has always worked and what has been. And I think that's the biggest thing that I would say that I kind of live by. And to kind of answer your question, I think it kind of ties into what you're asking. The success of, first of all, I'm a guy that cares less about any type of self awards, attention. That stuff, it doesn't really do anything for me. I'm not really looking for how does this benefit me, guy. That's not my personality. Staying grounded to what it's been and what it took to build what is built, and not changing. obviously there's a difference between like evolving and trying to make sure that, when I say that no team is the same as last year or this team is going to be different, you want to try and evolve with some stuff and tweak some stuff that fits this team more than that team or that stuff less than this team. But as far as like what the standard is and what it's been, winning one championship wasn't going to change the mindset, the goal, and what the vision is. And winning 2 championships wasn't going to do that, 3 and 4. And even now, like, there's been no, relax from now 3-peating and winning 4. There's a goal at hand. And when we get back and have a conversation with the guys, we got a new goal and what we're trying to chase and get. But it's not getting comfortable in the situation or with the success. That's never been me, and I'm glad the coaches that I do have on the staff right now, because they pretty much have the same mindset of just not letting the success, get to you. And everybody that's on the staff right now, I feel great about. I feel like we're moving on a mission, and those are probably the biggest things to answer your question. I know it's maybe not exactly what the answer that you're looking for, but that's kind of what I felt like has kind of kept it what it's been and what it's going to continue to be.
No, I know you didn't reinvent the wheel, but the wheels are always turning, I think, in your mind to keep preparing for what might happen or what could happen next year. I think that's a big deal. Before we take a quick 1-2 minute timeout and come back with more on your season, I want you to hit on the offseason, how important it is for you all at Maury, because you do 7-on-7 passing league over there at Powhatan. You go to Old Dominion and you're grooming in a new quarterback who you knew had ability, but you brought back some veteran wide receivers. Certainly LeBron Bond goes to Indiana, but Javon Wiggins, who's on our screen there, who's headed to William and Mary, Damon McDaniel Jr., who was a big key cog for you going to NC Central as well. And then also Elijah Moss Williams, who's going to James Madison University to play his college football, we think. So that's what last I've heard. You can update if there's something new on that front there. For your new sophomore triggerman in Damo Everett, who put up some amazing numbers and got state player of the year. Some wondered about the quarterback position. Oh, my goodness, Torrey Newkirk leads. And I know you took – I don't want to say this and offend you or say the wrong words, but it felt like in watching some of your interviews with some of the TV stations, people, a little bit of umbrage, like, hey, we've done this thing before. Just because Newkirk's now at UNC doesn't mean the whole thing goes in the crapper. But more than that, you knew what you had in Everett. You knew what you had in the wide receiver positions. Tell me, at what point did you feel not so much fine, but all right, we're ready to be or making progress? Was it not even until game 1? Was there a point in the offseason where you said, all right, they're starting to get what we want?
Yeah, there was a couple times in the offseason where you saw what the guys can be and what they can do. First of all, to just touch on Damo Everett, I think he was the biggest question mark for other people. It was pretty much the same thing before Torrey Newkirk, became who he became. I think it was somebody that nobody knew about and didn't know who was next. And he goes 2 years straight and does what he does. And that's all credit to that kid for what he did. But we knew we had Damo in the back pocket. We were glad that he wanted to be here. I'm glad that I have him. But that was probably the biggest question mark in our all season to other people. It definitely wasn't a question mark to nobody on our staff, and especially myself. I probably got that. That was probably the biggest question that I had probably the most in the off season was about Damo. And there was never any doubt that I knew what Damo could be and what he can bring us and who he could be. There was never any doubt, and there's still no doubt. I know what he's going to continue to do, and I know what he will continue to do. But as far as doing what he did, no surprise at all. I think that, I honestly feel like he wasn't talked about enough or, didn't get, the praise or whatever that he deserved. But it's okay. Like, he's a kid that's going to put his head down, keep working. That's what type of program we are, and we're cool with that. So, he showed shades early, and just like with anything, he was probably the most inexperienced when you're talking about, a Tayshaun Branch, and you're talking about the Javon Wiggins and Dane McDaniel and Eli, all those guys you're talking about. He was the most inexperienced, but he showed his good and his bad. But that's developing, that's coaching, and we don't shy away from development and getting guys better. And he took that on. And for the rest of those guys, I just think there were times in the offseason that was good and bad, which you need for a championship team. But just like I said all the time, just like I said in all the interviews and us going 14-1, I think for this team, that loss was needed. It was needed to open up the eyes. Like I say, you got to think that those guys have just been used to winning. Some of those guys have played a year, 2 years of football, high school football, and never lost a game. Some guys had been here, and all they lost was the state championship their freshman year to Holland Springs. So
and you're alluding to that Cardinal Gibbons season opening loss, which was a close, winnable game, 24-20, if I remember right, because I was watching it on NFHS, at least trying to watch it among the 4 or 5 games. As you know, I watch simultaneously on multiple devices here. I think you had like a key fumble. It might have been late third, early fourth quarter. I remember texting somebody watching, I was like, that might bite you. But it was something that you think, looking back on now, was needed to kind of refocus the group.
Yeah, I think it was big. I think any loss that we've taken, if anybody goes to look and see any losses that we've taken over the years in this stretch, it's always been a learned lesson. It's never been excuses. We're not trying, this guy was injured and maybe if they would have had these guys in this game. No, we played the game and we lost. It's really that simple. But in that, we also learned a lesson on what we need to do to be better in those moments that those things happen. And we learned that lesson. And, we saw losing like a kid like Isaiah Simmons and still being able to get it done. So those are lessons that we learned, and we learned in front of Cardinal Gibbons. Like I said, you talk about that fumble that happened. You're talking about a guy who that happened to in that game, and then the playoff stretch that he just went on. Just remembering what happened in that game that we lost and carrying that with him in those last 3 games of the season, and how he played, it pretty much showed that still carried on from that moment. And I just think that game right there was a good point for us, man. And even I think those first 3 games were kind of the moments to kind of get to the meat of your question of what you asked. Mm-hmm. Those first 3 games is pretty much kind of what got us there, man. Losing that game was Cardinal Gibbons, which I felt like this team needed. I don't know how I would have went if we were 13-0 going into that Stonebridge game on the road. I don't know how it would have went for us. So it was needed. We go on the road to Verona, who, probably the best team that we played in this year, pound for pound.
They put it on in the Class 4 championship, didn't they? My goodness.
To play them on the road, and just like any good team, man, they made their mistakes in that game. We also made ours. We made ours in the Cardinal Gibbons game. It's 2 teams battling it out. Both teams are going to make mistakes. Somebody's got to come out on top. We won a big one on the road, and in that moment, Damo could have tucked his tail in that moment in time from not playing so well in the first half. But again, another situation where I never stopped believing that kid. I don't care what was going to happen in that game. It was never going to stop believing. He turns around and throws a game-winning touchdown to Javon Wiggins, who we talked about in a critical moment of us needing that play. And there will be a lot of guys who would end up folding that moment from how they played early on. So that right there kind of really just stamped my situation with Damo and saying, yes, we have a guy. We have a guy that can go through hard times and still bounce back when the moment is the moment. So that's what really put it over top for Damo, for me. And for everybody else, it was rallying around him in that time. And then going to Bishop McNamara and guys, battling out in that game. I think that was a 3 overtime game, and just, not losing ourselves and just still trying to find a way to battle and fight. Like those 3 games pretty much told me, okay, like we really got the team to do it. Let's lock in. And to my last point to your question is, I think that's the moment when, after that Bishop McNamara game, is when I sat down with the players and the coaches across the board. And I just, told everybody across the board, like, listen, if comfortability is in you and you're going to bring it into this program, it's going to get uncomfortable for you over these next few weeks. I just got to be honest with you guys. And that was coaches and players. And for some guys that understood the message, they turned around the comfortability and got it right. And there was a lot of guys, players and coaches that wanted to live the comfortability route. And I'm just not built for that in this program. There's plenty of other programs that are okay with comfortability and just kind of getting by. This just isn't that program. So I just think that we kind of turned it up as a team overall, staff and players, after those 3 games.
Yeah, and that Charlie McCoy game-winning field goal in triple overtime was huge. Before we do take a timeout, like I promised, and I'll get to a couple of the questions. I see there's one or two already on IG and X and Facebook, and we'll let Coach McCain answer some of your interactive questions with us here on the Hash with Hatfield and 757 Sports Talk on CoVA Sports TV. One thing you did say in there, and that 3-game stretch is brutal. I mean, you've now got a 41-game winning streak against Virginia opponents, but you play McNamara and Verina, and you play Cardinal Gibbons, and you play the last couple of years Wise and Highland Springs and Dinwiddie. So you've won, like I said, over 87% of your games. You only lost 15, 16 games. What loss in your tenure at Maury did you learn the most from?
It would have to be 2 of them.
Okay.
That stick out. I wish I could say one, but definitely 2.
Okay, tell me.
The Stonebridge game, the state championship game. Super learned lesson in that situation that still haunts, that still carries, and that part of the program. I wouldn't even say me. That part of the program still carries itself. Even the kids who weren't involved in that, there's coaches and there's, the state of the program that still kind of carried. So I would say that, and really that 18 year when we went up to Highland Springs, we played that game. At that time, we were a team that was kind of like our coming out party, but we still weren't there yet. We were a good team, and I think that there's plenty of teams and situations that end up being good teams, but we weren't ready yet in that moment in time, and we didn't make excuses. And again, that loss, sat out there, took the loss, saw the other team celebrate, wanted to see all that, wanted to go through all of that. And I think that loss taught us the most, and we ended up coming back the next year, and that group with Lambert Smith and those guys just came at that following year and took care of business across the board. So I think those are probably the biggest 2 lessons overall in the program that I feel like that we've probably learned a lot as players and as a whole as a staff, and I think everybody would agree with that.
We've got more coming your way here with Dyrri McCain, head football coach, the reigning 3-time state champion Maury Commodores, as they get ready for a quest for a 4-peat. Yeah, it just ended, but they're getting ready for a quest for a 4-peat when we turn the calendar from December to January 2026. We'll get his take on the playoffs, Region 5B. He did have a couple of guys from his coaching staff depart and what's ahead for the team, but also remember some of these key seniors that made it possible for them. You're watching on the Hash with Hatfield. Now this from our sponsors such as Town Bank, Chicho's Pizza. Back in just a bit.
As a banker at Town Bank, we believe that people bank with people, not with banks. You're looking for an actual personal relationship, and that's what you get at our bank. You get that person that gets to know you, gets to know your business, is there for you. I think that is what motivates us, what drives us, and the idea that we are trying to serve others and enrich lives, I think is very true.
At CHKD, sports medicine is more than just treating injuries. It's a whole team approach to caring for young athletes. With experienced physicians, surgeons, trainers, and rehab specialists here when kids and teens need them most. Our experts help young athletes prevent injuries too, with advanced training and conditioning programs that keep them in the game safely. CHKD Sports Medicine, where kids are more than patients and we're more than a hospital.
What is more? Is it more reps, more strength, more stamina? We say it's all of that, but it's greater than just what's in the mirror. It's about improving your mental and physical health. More is a feeling of achievement, fulfillment, confidence. It's looking better, feeling better, being better, and it's our mission to get you there. Because here, you are more. One Life Fitness.
One to the near side. Branch moves to the right, and he'll take the handoff again. Oh, this time Everett will keep it. He's got some running room. He splits the defense in 2. Inside the 15, the 10, the 5. Touchdown, Maury.
That looked easy. Damo Everett has wheels, folks.
Not just a quarterback that can sling it. Here's the fake. They bite down on Branch, and why wouldn't they? Because he's a locomotive. And here's Everett showing I can take it to the house as well. Doing so in those neon green shoes. And already Maury's up double figures. Not even 3 minutes expired in this Class 5 state finals at JMU.
Back here with the head football coach of the Class 5 state champion Maury Commodores, Dyrri McCain, our guest here on the Hatch with Hatfield. Like, share, and subscribe. Interact with us on CoVA Sports TV or wherever platform you're watching, Virginia Preps, Facebook, IG, the X. We've got some comments. I unfortunately can't put all the IG comments up. I can put the YouTube and Facebook comments up, but look at _B Davis 14 wants to know, Coach, what them wide receivers going to look like for next season with a bunch of eye emojis. What them wide receivers look like for next season. You do have a couple back. You do graduate some, correct?
Yeah, we got a couple back. I feel good about the group that we have coming back. And it's good when you got your quarterback back for another 2. And that shout out to that guy, man. That boy looked real fast on that film. Damo, man, that was an impressive play right there by him. I'm sorry, I'm still stuck on that clip. Shout out to my guy.
Let's real quick because we did this. You probably don't watch. I know someone in your family watches who, by the way, has got a comment for you in a second. But Coach Young and I on our 757 Sports Talk program, he referenced it from the Stonebridge game. What you do with your quarterback and some of the fakes, he saw it coming that was there for you in the championship round, and sure enough, it was. And why not? Tayshawn Branch runs this year. You talk about Damo, how fantastic he was. And my goodness, he was 58 total touchdowns this year. Branch accumulates over 2,000 all-purpose yards and really tore it up in the state semis against Stonebridge, which we'll get to, and we'll show a clip from that as well. So there's so many things defenses, even the best of them out there, like Stonebridge's and Highland Springs', have to prepare for with your offense.
Yeah, but again, that goes back to credit to the guys. I mean, and I don't want to keep sounding like a broken record with that. I mean, Damo has to want to be better. Damo has to want to pay attention. Damo has to be locked into what the situation is, as does Javon Wiggins, as does Eli, as does Tayshawn Branch and Damon McDaniel and Matt Williams and Carter O and Jaden Avery. Like, all of those guys have to be locked into what we are. Javonte Hughes. All of those guys have to be in tune to what we're doing. It's not a system where it's just telling a guy, hey, go out there and run a go route. So those guys, I got to give credit to those guys. And really, from the beginning of time with, that Lambert Smith group, and even my time at Norview, man, honestly, with DJ Mack and Anton Ashby and Kayvon Lawson and those guys, I've been fortunate to just be able to deal with the unselfish group of guys who, you look at a Tayshawn Branch who can go anywhere and get 40 carries a game or this or that. I've just been fortunate enough for guys to, buy into the team ball, and it's just been benefiting everybody. There's been a bunch of guys who have left our offense and have been able to play next level football at a high level. So, for those guys to want to be able to do that is something that I'm fortunate to have. So, I mean, I get it, but those guys still got to want to do it and still want to be a part of being a team.
We got a question on the YouTube out there from Melinda McCain. Coach McCain, does your mom push you as hard now as a coach like she did when you were a player? Well, that's a good one. I like that one.
No, my mom's probably actually gotten softer now that I'm a coach. She was definitely harder on me as a player. She was that mom that you were going to hear from the stands. When I was a player, it was just kind of one of those things where, like, you were going to hear her in the crowd when I was young as a player, and that's just who she was. And she was going to let everybody know that was her baby. Number 5 was her baby. That was going to be known in the stands as a player. Now she's gotten a little bit soft on me as a coach, and probably more so because she knows the time that I spend with this and for the guys and with the guys and just everything that has to do with the program and do with the program. But she's definitely my number one fan. She's been that since I was a player. I can always count on her being in the stands, around. Even when she's not there, she's on NFHS every Friday. If we're playing on Saturday and she can't make it, She is in front of the screen any way, any possible way she can. I love her. She's everything to me. She's definitely always been a support system for me from the beginning, all the way through my time as a player and a coach. So I'd be remiss if I didn't shout her out. I'm glad she chimed in here to ask a question. And I love her. And yeah, that's Mom.
We appreciate that. She might not even know we were doing this at this time. She probably got the notification when we went live and said, "Oh, I'm going to ask a question." So I appreciate her doing that. And speaking of which, as we stay on that theme of family and mom, Mother's Day, it's holidays. So we throw it to you now. How has fatherhood made the adjustment for you as a coach? There was a neat article in the Virginia Pilot that Larry Obama did on you, as well as Tyler Noe. He's got a newborn over there at Cox High School in Virginia Beach. The time management piece is always such a challenge for everybody, whether you're a coach and you got kids or not. So take us through what that's been like for you this year, because it's different from your last couple of championships where you got a newborn.
Yeah, man, it's been cool. You know, the experiences of just fatherhood alone outside of football, it's been a little bit of, you know, I'm a guy that takes advice. And like I said, like I've always been a guy that was writing notes and doing those things as a player and a student of the game, like when it comes to football. And it's been the same thing as like with life and just parenting and everything else. It's really taken my own life lessons, other people's life lessons, and what they kind of tell me. I'm never, if people are like, oh, I don't want to listen. I don't want to hear this old guy talk to me. I'm more the guy that like, well, this guy is experiencing in life, is experiencing what he's doing. So what can I gain from him, or what can I learn from him that I'm going to be able to either know how to handle that situation when it comes about, or how to handle it. And that's pretty much what it's been with fatherhood, man. I mean, I got some good support guys. My guy, my guy Bryce that coaches with me, very close person to me, told me a lot about what it was going to be as a father. And some of the stuff you actually don't know until you actually are in it. You can be told about this and that, but you actually got to be in it to kind of realize what it is. And it's been cool, man. I mean, it's a good feeling when, before then you can have a bad practice, man, or things just don't go well that day. It can, maybe the day just wasn't what it was and whatever. But like, he has no clue about anything that happened. He doesn't know that I was just getting on Damo at practice, or I just got finished getting on Tayshaun Branch for what he wasn't doing at practice, or what Eli didn't do, or what Matt Williams didn't do, or whatever. He has no clue about any of that stuff. When I walk through the door, he just sees Dad, and just like that smile, like he has this like open mouth like smile that I can just still see right now, even though if I'm not in front of him. That just like it clears everything that's kind of going on, and whatever kind of happened is just the focus becomes on him. And a lot of the times I don't get to see him before he's kind of put to bed because of practice and everything. So, I got to shout out his mom. Alyssa, she does a great job of holding that part down for us to his parents. With him, she really allows me to be me here and pretty much continue what we're doing with the program. And it wouldn't be done without, what she does as a mom and as a parent. And how we do this as parents. She's very vital to my success, and continuing to do what we're doing with the program. She's definitely vital to that, and she's behind the scenes, and won't get, when people see the coach of the year, when people see that stuff, she's not going to get any of that credit when she's one of the most that's most deserving, because she's holding stuff down for me to be able to give what I need to give to the program and give what I need to give to the boys and to the guys and to the coaches in the program. So it's been cool. But again, another situation where it wouldn't be what it is if my support system didn't hold me down to be able to do what I need to do for the program, what people need from me from the program, what my admin needs from me, what my AD needs from me, what my coaches need from me, what these kids need from me, like those people that are in my support system, for me to be able to do that. Play a vital role into the success. Miss Parker, Coach Parker, Cornell Parker, Jennifer Parker, like all of those people play like roles outside of outside of football and this parenting part that got added to this year. But it's been fun. It's had its hurdles and everything like that. Anything with success is going to have hurdles, but it's been fun, and I appreciate my support system.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got a great one with the Parkers, and no doubt about it, your principal, Karen Berg, your initial AD and Ed Boyd, and now your current AD and Tommy Staples. Let me ask you, Coach, there was 2 games before you got to the state playoffs that stick out to me. One I was at live, and I wasn't sure I was going to go to it. Ended up seeing 2 eventual state champions square off in Norfolk, you and Lake Taylor, and it was a 14-all game into the third quarter, 77-yard touchdown run from Keon Johnson. We just spoke with Hank Sawyer last week about his state championship, which was a wild one for him. He's got 4 rings now, just like you got 4 rings. Although he had to match his 4th to match Sandra Sawyer, the girls' basketball coach. You don't have to do that right now, match someone with 4 in his own family. But the other game that stuck out was the injury game. And we broadcasted on CoVA Sports TV. Coach Darnell Moore and I did the Green Run Indian River game. And then I couldn't make it in time to Suffolk with the traffic and getting out of there late. So I went to Oscar Smith Thomas Dale, which was a blowout. Smith won that one comfortably on its way to a state championship. 3 teams from the 7-5-7, Oscar Smith, Maury, Lake Taylor represent Hampton Roads. But I got home and I actually saw the clip on NFHS and my heart sunk because it was a tight game at halftime. You pull away in the second half, but the third quarter injury to Isaiah Ike Simmons, the leader, the heartbeat of your team. He's been one of the most incredible kids I've got a chance to cover, just his leadership qualities. And I think it probably goes without really representation or recognition. He's got 286 tackles in his career, and some may say big deal. That's 72 per year, but he's played with Carlton Smith and Fred Johnson, guys at Maryland, Indiana, and you've had some blowout games where he doesn't have to play all 4 quarters. But as that moment happens and you go on the field to check on him, what's going through your mind? Because you go, oh no, we've had this happen before though with Peyton Jones and Nathaniel Booganox and Kendall Daniels and Ari Watford. But this one's a little bit different though, isn't it?
Yeah, man. I'm gonna get to the point that you made first, and I'm gonna get to Ike because that's an important guy to me. Shout out to Lake Taylor for bringing the title home. A lot of talk gets talked about our district and what we are, what we aren't. So shout out to those guys, and we were able to bring 2 back in our district. And so I'm glad that they were able to pull that out. So congrats to those guys for getting it done. To Ike in that situation, at first I'm just thoughts of a kid who is one of the most important and one of my most favorite people that I've probably ever come across to coach. There's so many high praises I could talk about Ike. And everybody sees him as the player. We were in those region meetings and state meetings. They just talk about who he was as the player. And I just see a guy who's came a long way from, freshman year of like you said, being a freshman starter for us, and having to step in for 4 guys that we had that were dudes. It was a lot of thoughts that just happened that played out in that situation, that moment. He's the heart and soul of our team. He embodies everything that you want as far as a leader, as far as a player on your team. Not only is he, people would argue whether or not he's the best player on our team, right? Then you're talking about a guy who outworks everybody. Then you're talking about a guy who just has a mentality to get things done. He's a great student. I want to say he's like a 3.7 kid or something like that. Student of the game. He wants to know why. He wants to know every bit of details on both sides of the ball on what's going on. He's a great person to women. He is a great person to his family. Loves his family, his sisters, his mom, his dad. Just this kid is, and I haven't even talked about how fast he can run, how much he lifts, like the tackles that you brought up, like all of that stuff it's all plus. The person that this guy is and who he was to this team, it's everything. And it's crazy because I got my own speak of how I feel about him and how that situation played out. And I think I actually teared up a little bit when he ended up getting carried off, only because like I know what this kid put into this team in this situation, like not only for himself, but who he had to be for his team this specific season to carry this team. I know what he put in. So, you know, it was a situation where I felt bad for him, but I had to quickly remind myself that, you know, the man upstairs makes no mistakes with situations and timing. So I have to trust that it's for the better. That's not my judgment to make or put him through. But it's hard to see sometimes. I'll be honest to say that it's not hard to see sometimes. So that was that. But even if you look at the guys, the kids, we're talking about being like the heart of our team, man, right after that, we got a huddle that I think all the guys, I want to say Dan McDaniel led the whole team in a prayer as Ike is down. Like, come on, man. Like, that Dane McDaniel was able to pull that whole entire team together, which speaks volume to him, you know, and what he brings to the team. But is able to get all of those guys to get together and pray up with each other. Then I think we huddled right after that as a team to just kind of get back on track to refocus on the game. It even took me a while to kind of get straight. But then you see after guys making plays, man, you see Javonte Hughes, he gets a run, he's putting up the 0. Matt Williams gets a pick, he's putting up the 0. Tayshaun Branch does something, he's putting up the 0. Javon Wiggins putting up the 0. And that kind of became our thing after that. And then we got to Stonebridge game, and it was same thing. Guys are making plays, putting up the 0. Guys in the state championship game making plays, putting up the 0. That's how much he meant to that team. But Ike's going to forever be spoken about a guy in our program. Like, he's going to be a guy that's still spoken about 5, 6, 7 years from now. And hopefully, you know, when this time is past, hopefully he's still talked about, but forever in this program, Ike will forever be remembered in this program. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, he's going to Pittsburgh. What a gem for Coach Narduzzi and the Panthers. He goes out with 3 rings, 4 region championships. He's a 4-time All-State guy, 2-time first-team All-State, 2-time second-team All-State. And I think it goes, like you said, beyond the numbers that you can measure what he meant for your team. You just see the respect from his teammates. And I did see that prayer. I think Damon Sr. shared it from Junior that night, and that was pretty, goosebumps, I guess, come on your skin there when you get that. So now you get ready for Stonebridge. And I was public about it. I was like, look, I don't know if they can win this game without that guy on defense. I knew what your offense could do, but the thing was nobody had done it on that defense. And then as equally a concern is if you tell Stonebridge they're going to score almost 30 points on you, they're going to think they're going to win the game because they've not given that up on anybody. Take me through that game. Certainly there was some big plays. And I'll actually, before you can take me through that game, I want to show for folks that didn't see it. I tell you what I thought the game – well, there was 2 plays that stand out in that game. This one is the run from Tayshaun Branch. Then I'll tell you where I think the game was over. Here's that T run from T Branch up in Ashburn, courtesy of the NFHS Network.
One to the near side.
Here we go. This one. Here it is. T Branch's T run. That's the other one here in the NFHS Network.
There's Branch. He's got it. Straight ahead. Still not down. And he somehow spins out. 25, 20 on his feet all the way to the 10. He's still going, and he's down at the 1-yard line. What a run by Tayshaun Branch.
That looked like Jeff Overton.
Oh, my goodness.
When he was in Freedom.
Tremendous run there by Branch. Watch it again here. Every time Maury sees Stonebridge with 3 down linemen, coach, they're coming up and they're running the ball. I mean, they bring him back in. Look at the missed tackles.
3, 4, 5.
They just couldn't get him out. Couldn't get him down.
And Golston ends up hustling down and making the tackle. Kedrick on the 1-yard line.
Now, you know this. I know this. I'm not sure all the audience does. That Stonebridge defense is littered with Division I dudes all over the place. Different dynamic than you've played them before in the championship round where you've beaten them 2 out of 3 times. But Tayshaun Branch was a man possessed that day, wasn't he, Coach?
Yeah, I just think that's who we expect him to be. That he's coached hard. We expect a lot from him. I think that his sophomore year, we there was a this person goes here, this person goes there. We always knew we had Tayshaun in the back pocket. And And, he took advantage of opportunities when he was younger, as a sophomore. I mean, he really took advantage of his opportunities. And then, ended up taking over the job for us in the playoff run his sophomore year, just because he had earned that from what he showed and put out, that he earned that. And everything that he's gotten, he's earned and worked for. And it's no surprise what he did. I think that he carried a lot of stuff that was kind of going out through the season, in the regular season. He carried that into the postseason. And he just knows the expectations of him. He knows what's expected of him. It's great to also have him in a sense because, I played with his actual father, his uncle. I played with his uncle also, D'Angelo Branch. I do think Tayshawn's the better back. If Bubbles was to ever get a hold of hearing this, I think Tayshawn's better than Bubbles. But
I don't disagree with you. Listen, Bubbles was a heck of a player, but I don't disagree with you.
Yeah. Bubbles my guy. He will forever be my guy. That is my guy. But I got to go with Tay Branch. Now, I don't know if I can say that he's the best five. I don't know if Tay's the best five, but that's yet to come. We'll see what he brings up next year. But he definitely ran hard. He definitely carried a weight for us in this playoff stretch, and I definitely think that he made a name for himself in this playoff stretch, and rightfully so. Everything that's going to come his way, and everything that will continue to come his way, he's going to earn. He doesn't want any handouts. He wants to earn everything he's getting, and I'm proud that he has a work ethic like that.
I'm glad you said it because our guy Preston, again, we're having trouble getting some of the comments on the screens, but we'll try. If you do have a comment, we encourage you to send it to us through YouTube, Facebook, IG, X. We'll get them up there if we can, although we're having trouble with the IG and the X comment. The Facebook and YouTube appearing on the screen fine. But on X, Preston wants to know, what's his recruitment looking like, Coach? You see him being a Power 5 guy just like a Peyton Jones, and I think offers going to trickle in by the day or in the weeks here coming up, right?
Yeah. He's going to be fine in his offseason stretch coming around here in the spring and everything.
What's his best asset in your eyes? What's his best asset as a back in your eyes? Really, I would probably say his will, like his will to you have to tackle him. You're not going to arm tackle this kid. It's not going to be an easy day tackling him. And that's whether he's trying to run through you or trying to go around you or make a move or run away from you. He's not going to go down easy. He just got this will about him, this grit about him that's impressive. He has this mindset about him that he feels like he's the best at anything that he does. Don't know where he gets it from. Me and him compete a lot about a bunch of different things. He feels like he could have did this and did that, versus me or whoever else. But he has this true competitive and will nature that I think that's where me and him, not necessarily clash. I think me and him kind of like have a like that he's so competitive and he just has this will about him. And just a kid that I'm glad that I've, have had the opportunity to coach. Got one more year to do it. I'm glad he's on our side, but that's probably his best asset, man, is his will. And he's super competitive, man. He feels like he's the best at everything. You put him on a checkers board, he feels like he can win. You put him in a 3-point shootout, he feels like he can win. You put him in a race, he feels like he's faster than everybody. You need that to play at the level to play at. So those are things that I'm glad that he has. He has good qualities to play at the highest level. Yeah, 18 carries for 247, 4 touchdowns against Stonebridge's defense, which had not given up that many touchdowns like the entire season on the ground. He did it in one game. And by the way, as you know, there's that will, that sheer desires right there, determination. I think he's a better pass catcher on the back than people realize too, which that can be shown here in the coming games, I should say, in the future for him. The other play, though, that stuck out to me, and actually when I saw this later, because I was broadcasting the Magna Vista Lake Taylor game. Rod Johnson and I were on the NFHS network. But this was the play that to me said game set, match, because it's 4th down. It's 27-21 in the third quarter, and no fear in Coach McCain. He's going for it on 4th down, and here's what happened with Damo Everett, the trigger man.
That's him.
I think they're going to go down here 101 on this to number 3 down here on Langston Bridge. And they got Quads to the up top.
Here's Everett back to pass.
There it
Gonna
is.
chuck it deep
to
toward the
one-on-one.
end zone, and it's going to be caught. Touchdown by Williams. And did he push off? That's the question.
I thought it was defensive pass interference myself, but we'll see in a second.
Official
There's a flag
saying
now.
it's going to against Stonebridge. Let's watch the play.
The replay. We get it. I told you they were going to go one-on-one to the backside here. They had one-on-one.
Not much really for either side.
The hands on, no. But, I mean, there was nothing offensively that was pushing off.
Yeah.
Coach R.J. Windows there of Independence saw it with Andy Hayes on the call. You knew it. Damo knew it. Matt Williams knew it. Stonebridge didn't. 4th and 15, Coach, though. Pretty gutsy, ballsy, whatever people want to call it. But I'll tell you this, you've been watching a lot of those guys in college and pros doing that, and you had the ultimate confidence and faith in your guys to get it done. They did.
Yeah, I think it's a couple things that stand out in that play and that call in that time. I think that, you look at, and I talked about it earlier with Damo Everett, you look at him in that Verona game and, he struggled in the beginning and then, found a way to get it together late in the game. And like I said, then we knew that if he can go through that, then he's going to be able to go through the tough times that we'll see later. So that's where those moments in those 3 games came to play in that single play that you just showed for him specifically. There's never a doubt, man. Like there was never a doubt that I felt like that he couldn't go on the road and win at Kings Fort. There was never a doubt that I felt like Damo couldn't go on the road and win against Stonebridge. There was never a doubt to win the state championship game that he's getting his first start in. There was never a doubt. He's shown that in those 3 games that he's capable enough to handle those moments. He showed that. So there was never any doubt to make that play call and put in his hands at that time to make a throw like that. The biggest key, and I got to be honest right here, Matt. The biggest key in that clip, if you were to ever look back at it again past this point, is the offensive line up front because of who they have, and look at the time that Damo has to be able to scan the field and make that throw. So shout out to Coach Paul and Coach Bryce for the time that they put in with those guys to keep Damo protected and make that throw. And it's so underrated because we get so caught up into looking at Matt's catch and we look at Tayshawn Branch's run and Damo making this throw, that specific clip showed you that those guys did a great job up front of giving this guy time to make that throw. So that right there was the biggest key, was them doing that. Damo being second in that play of making that throw. All right, and then obviously Matt Williams on the catch, man. He's a playmaker. He's played big roles for us ever since he was a freshman. Has been a guy that's came in and hasn't been trying to be stuck to one position. He's done multiple different things for us, man. He's played some quarterback. He's played receiver. He's played DB. He's played returner. He's played holder for field goal. He does a lot. And that's what Matt brings to the table. And in that moment, in that time, he's a guy that we expect to make that play. And rightfully so he did. So first, I got to say shout out to the O-line for that. That specific clip shows you that they held protection. Second, Damo. And then obviously Matt with a great catch. So, yeah, it was a great effort. Again, a team football type of play.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because last year you graduate some offensive linemen. A year ago, I think you had like Elijah Jones, mid-All-State. This year it's Naquan Harris, young pup for you, Jaden Hodge, those guys up front with your coaches, like you mentioned, Coach Bryce Parker and Paul Hudson for you, a new coach for you on the line, did a great job with it. And in Matt Williams' case, you remember this last year, I was irate that he got snubbed when it came to all-district, all-region voting. He didn't get snubbed this year. He got first-team All-State at defensive back for you. And that's another thing too, Coach, your defensive backs. I mean, you had a freshman. You told me this early in the year. I said, I tell you what, there was a couple of freshmen. You said, wait till you see mine. And he did show by year's end 8 interceptions for you. Tawan Pear, first-team All-State as a freshman. So you guys have never been afraid to throw guys to the fire, whether it's Naquan Harris, whose pops big money played at Lake Taylor, whether it's Kamari Watson on the D-line, or in Tawan Pear's case.
Yeah, I think that, I believe in playing guys young. I've always been that type of guy. I don't shy away from being able to coach. And when I say I mean that's presented to the staff is like we're not going to be afraid to play guys young. I think a lot of people, in the outside noise maybe feel like, don't come to Maury or whatever. I'm not into that whole conversation and stuff, but that we don't play young guys or whatever, and we got 2 freshmen that make first team All-State. If you can play and you're willing to come and work and do what's asked of the program, you will get a chance to play. And those guys are proof of that. And you think about like the names that you mentioned, like Kamari Watson, like, he's a guy that is gonna have his real coming out party real soon. We're excited about him moving forward. We have Amir Granger. I was about to say Maury. It's actually his little brother, who we're really excited about. You mentioned Naquan Harris, a kid that is already early on. He wants to be so good. He's so critical at the smallest thing. I mean, even if it's a right step, did he step the right way, or doing this or doing that the right way? He's super competitive and wants to be good, which his world. And then obviously Taiwan Pear, like, I mean, again, it's hard not to try to be biased, but I just don't see it. I don't see many freshmen in the state of Virginia in his class that has the resume that this kid has. I mean, he's doing stuff that, again, we're talking about replacing guys. So you're talking about how do we replace Kendall Daniels? How do we replace some of them guys? And, he's stepping up in Kendall's spot right now and is able to do what he did. He's had more picks than you think about the DBs that's kind of come by here. And again, shout out to Coach Wayne, Coach Knight, Coach Reed. Those guys are the best group of DB guys that, I mean, again, I'm not trying to be biased. I just think that they're great at what they do. And the proof is in the pudding. But you look at the DBs that we've had, and Deshaun Peel, Kendall Daniels, Devontae Floyd, Kelvin Say, Sheridan Jones. Yeah. I mean, you could go down a list, and I'm sorry, guys, if I'm forgetting any of you guys, man. It's been a lot of you guys
at Duke, Clemson, Delaware. They've been to Navy, big places, and performed.
And performed actually did well at the next level. But you look at what they did, and these guys didn't do near of what Tawan did as a freshman. He's already beat a lot of those guys out in one season. So sky's the limit for him. He's super coachable, hardworking kid, wants to get better, wants to be better. And again, so when you have this level now of what you can play, it's our job as a staff to get him to play at another level. But it's all up to him to want to be better and want to get better. He can't just be satisfied with just the freshman season. But what an impressive one. Super good kid, super good family. But he's special, man. He's going to be one to talk about for the next couple of years.
One more here before we take a break and finish up with our final segment here with Coach Dyrri McCain of the reigning 3-time state champion Maury Commodores. 100 wins and counting for him, 4 rings as they get ready for 2026. Coach, you take on the Highland Springs in the championship game. And even for a guy like me who's got utmost respect for Lauren Johnson, what the Springers have accomplished, sort of been in many ways the kings of Virginia high school football, I felt like the harder game for you would be the state semis for a couple of factors. Not so much a knock on Highland Springs, but one, it's on the road. 2, it's in the state semifinal round on the road against a great defense, and it's the first game after losing your heart and soul. Now you've had a game without him, so it allows you to get more acclimated with Javonte Hughes and Elijah King and that group that's going to lead your linebacker core. And Elijah King had a heck of a day, as we documented afterwards in the postgame presser. But this Highland Springs team, though you've beaten them in the regular season, it was something you had to check off on the resume, given that you hadn't beaten them in the championship round, and it mattered to get off to a fast start, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. I mean, you just look at the run and kind of what the program has been, and the previous year before this class had got in, before Ike Simmons and Javonte Hughes, Elijah Moss, and all them guys, Hunter Collins, before those guys came in, they were coming in from that loss to Stonebridge. They weren't here yet, but we went into that offseason, with that on our mind, and then they turn around and play Highland Springs. in the state championship the following year, and end up losing that one. So I mean, it just like I said before, man, it couldn't be a better fitting situation for the program and for some of those guys to pretty much hold those guys down from before, the guys who came before. Like I said, they were coming into a situation that, they didn't experience that loss of Stonebridge, but they were able to go to Stonebridge and get it done. And, and we talk about program, Ike and those guys' mission wasn't just to win it this year for them. It was making sure that they hold down the Peyton Jones, the Kelvin Says, the Booger Knox, like all of those guys, wanting to hold those guys down from what they came into. And even, Highland Springs, we talk about the standard that they've been on and who Lauren Johnson is as a coach. I mean, his resume is stamped. I mean, there's not many people that's going to have the resume that he has. And that's just point blank period out of respect. There's not too many with the resume that he has. And to get this matchup at that time and at where we were as a program, I mean, like I said, a lot of people didn't expect us to be here. We're losing out on 7 Division I cats, 8 if you include Ike not being able to perform and play. Most teams, you're gonna kind of put that into a team going into a down year or a bad year, and whatever that bad year looked like, 4-6, or whether it's losing second round. I just don't think that off of losing that and then the first 3 games, I felt like it was talked about and looked at as we weren't going to be there and get it done again. So it was great to get this matchup with those guys to take the next step in this program. And those guys got it done, man. It was good to get off to a good start. Matt Williams started it off. And then from there, I think our defense got a stop. Damo did a good job of pulling the ball and getting into the end zone. And then from there, man, it was just the defense was playing lights out. Like you said, Elijah King played big. Again, another guy who we knew we had. But now he had his opportunity to showcase what he can do. Pretty much, like I said, like a Tayshaun Branch. Like you give those guys the opportunity to show themselves, and they end up taking advantage of opportunity. So, it took a team effort, man. A lot of guys stepped up, man. Isaiah McDaniel played big at the corner spot in the game. A lot of guys just kind of.
Kobe Marshall's another guy. He got hurt.
Marshall, oh my gosh, man! Like him, he played huge, man. Javonte Hughes, another kid that has played with the JRs and the Ike Simmons and CJ Smiths. So I feel like even him and Matt, I feel like didn't get the credit that they pretty much deserve in the past seasons of what they did production wise. But I'm glad they were able to go into the all season with that on their mind, put together the work to be able to have the resume that they have. So guys like that just showed up, man. And definitely 7, man. Javonte Hughes, like he really showed up all year and really showed that he belongs and that he's one of the best players in our state. And there's no doubt about that.
No question about it. I think he just finished like a tackle away from what Ike had this year, and he had a heck of a year. One more before we go to break here, and then we'll finish up on what's ahead for the Maury football program and get Coach McCain's final thoughts here. J.C. Rogers wanted to know on the X. Again, apologies I can't get your comment on the screen. How different was it preparing for Highland Springs compared to Stonebridge? I think you talked more about the scheme and personnel. How different was that for you? It's an interesting question. I'm curious what you think on that because they're both great, and you've been used to playing one and the other almost every year during this run here. I know people get caught up in a 7-5-7. Oh, for years that first it was Lake Taylor in the district. Are they going to beat them or who's going to beat who? Then in the regional areas, can a Warwick or Kings Fork or a Green Run or Indian River take down Maury? Really, when it gets to December, we know it's going to be the Commodores taking on the Springers or the Bulldogs at some point.
Yep. Yeah, it's pretty much been that. It's 2 different teams, 2 different – they bring 2 different situations, scenarios. You're talking about, the team, the Stonebridge team. I mean, they have I want to say maybe 6 Division I cats on their defense alone. We're not even talking about on their team. They have 6 Division I cats. So they bring a different scheme. They have a different offense. They have a different defense than what Island Springs plays. So when it comes to that, it was different. The two coaches are different. You know, there's not really history there between our team and our staff with Stonebridge's new staff, because I think last year was his first year. And I don't know if those guys didn't make it that far. I don't know if they made the playoffs or whatever. However that played out, we just didn't
lost in the region semis to Riverbend. But correct, they were a much different team this year than last year, and of course under Mickey Thompson, no doubt. Yeah.
Yes. So it was just a different situation. Highland Springs, familiar with the staff. There's familiar history. They know what we're gonna do. We know what they're gonna do. You know, and it's almost like with us Highland Springs, it's almost like we might as well be in the same district, because it always just seems to kind of play on like they're like I said, they're gonna know us well, we're gonna know them well. Just two different teams, two different staffs, two different situations and moments. I mean, we had to go on the road to Stonebridge, who has obviously the more grasp of the crowd and the situation atmosphere. You talk about Springs, who we're at a neutral site. We're in a state championship game. It has its own different vibe and feel to the game. So just two different situations, but neither team, you know, we could have slept on or went in half-stepping, because either we're going to end up in a game, or obviously we know, us coaches-wise knows what it feels like for it to not go our way when it matters. These players for this program really don't know a lot of that, how that feels that way in those moments in games. But us as a staff, we know what that feeling is like, and we know what can happen. So two different situations, but two different teams, two good teams, two well-coached teams. We just had to come be better that day.
Well, speaking of Highland Springs, Maury goes for something that the Springers were the first to accomplish in Class 5 of 4. We'll get Coach McCain's thoughts on that when we come back. Also some changes, players that graduate, coaches have personnel changes, and get your final couple of questions too. You're watching 757 Sports Talk and On the Hash with Hatfield right here on CoVA Sports TV. Now a quick word from those that help make it possible. Stay tuned.
As a banker at Town Bank, we believe that people bank with people, not with banks. You're looking for an actual personal relationship, and that's what you get at our bank. You get that person that gets to know you, gets to know your business, is there for you. I think that is what motivates us, what drives us, and the idea that we are trying to serve others and enrich lives, I think is very true.
CoVA Painting. We don't just paint, we transform spaces. Visit covapainting.com or call 757-550-7357 and mention the Sportsplex for 10% off of projects over $1,000.
Pain and Gain, your one-stop shop for all things field hockey. Located in Princess One Shopping Center, Virginia Beach, we carry everything you need on the turf, from black sticks, turf shoes, mouth guards, and much more. Try out your stick before you buy in our synthetic turf area. Pain and Gain. Embrace the pain, enjoy the game.
Plays that. 3rd and 7. Everett looking down the sidelines. Got a man running wide open. Caught at the 25. That's Williams again. Touchdown, Commodores.
I think Matt Williams is having a party here in the state championship game. You see he's going on the go route, and he's got his man roasted, toasted. Touchdown, Maury cruising. Not even 6 minutes gone by. 64 yards to Painter.
Bust.
It never gets old, does it, Coach? Whether it's the first, second, or third time for those players, and for you, your fourth as a championship head coach of the Maury Commodores, your alma mater. It is 757 Sports Talk and CoVA Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe, and interact with us. If you got a question or comment, you want to shout something out to Coach Dyrri McCain, you can do so through the IG, the Facebook, the Twitter, the X, YouTube as well on CoVA Sports TV. Well, Coach, you get ready for a four-peat, and actually one of our questions on the IG, I forgot who was it that asked it. We had him on recently on 757 Sports Talk. Your defensive coordinator has moved on to be the head coach of the Bookers with Booker T. Washington, former Lake Taylor all-Tidewater linebacker Mike Privet. You knew at some point that this might be a possibility for him to be a head coach one day, so now you'll lock horns with him in the Eastern District in 2026 and beyond.
Yeah, I mean, it was again, if we're going to be one of the standard programs in Virginia, just like with anything, man, you look at it in college football, you look at it anywhere else. I mean, when there's success happening in a program, there should be phone calls coming out to people, whether it be head coach, coordinators, whatever the case, whatever it is. And that's been my job as a head coach, to make sure that that I'm helping guys prosper, those guys who have aspirations of being coordinators one day, that are position coaches, or coordinators that want to be head coaches. That's part of my job. I mean, it's more than just the kid development. It's trying to make sure that everything around here is being developed, man. Other teams in our school, whatever team in our school, just trying to, make sure that everybody's taking the steps to develop. I want everybody around me to be successful at whatever it is that they want to do. And my job is to just pour into as much as that I need to help them do that. And it's no surprise at all. I mean, the resume says that he should have that opportunity. So, it's no surprise, and it's an opportunity that he's deserved with his resume. And I mean, it's what's supposed to happen. I mean, that's what you're supposed to be doing if you really want to care and really want to help people. You should be setting them up to do that. And like I said, just way more than deserving the opportunity.
I know you're both looking forward to competing against each other, given how much you competed against each other in practice with the back and forth banter and junk talk, if you will. But I'm also interested to find out, because you knew this was a possibility for years, and I'm curious, how often do you get asked about, well, how much longer do you want to stay at Maury as opposed to taking an opportunity at the college level? Certainly one has to come your way that's attractive or fits your needs, desires, wants, if you will. You do have the new little one at home and things that are certainly changing in your life constantly. But how often do you get thrown at your way, especially after a three-peat in a fourth championship? Because I'm sure this is something that got thrown to Mike Smith at Hampton High, Jeremy Blunt at Phoebus after his four-peat. Hank Sawyer probably got asked this, and certainly Chris Beatty got asked this, and eventually took an opportunity for the college level when he was at Lansdowne earlier in this century. How about for you? Does it get thrown to you often?
I think a lot of people bring that up a lot. I hear that when, if it's trying to bring another coach on the staff, or, a kid per se that is here and wants to make sure, or maybe it's a kid that's coming as a freshman or whatever the case may be. I feel like it gets put on a lot. And I do think some people probably use it as a tactic to scare people away from coming here, because they think this or think that. I've always been here. It's always been what it's been. I haven't. I'm at Maury. This same conversation gets brought up every single year, even after the second championship. We get to a third one, I'm still like, I'm here, and it's just a conversation that's brought up a lot. And I'm at Maury. That's where my feet are, and that's what I'm taking advantage of. And I just believe in that. When I was at Norview, it was the same thing about taking a head job. I mean, when I'm at Norview, I'm there, and that's just what it is. So I'm here at Maury. I don't. People want to create these conversations, and it's just the thing that always comes about. I get it. I want it 100%. I get why those conversations are being brought up, and what people either think that that's a good thing or a bad thing. I don't know. I don't know what their mental makeup is for an opportunity like that. I don't know. but it's a conversation that other people bring up and talk about. I mean, there's stuff talked about from that to we weren't going to be the same team as last year, or Atori left, Kendamo, Ike got injured. Can we? So it's just that's what comes with the success in the program, is that you're always going to get stuff that's going to come about, stuff that's going to be about whatever, and just being able to move and focus on the program. I've made moves in situations for this program. I haven't slowed down in what our process is going to be next year. I'm already working on that. So, I mean, everything says that I'm trying to do it again. And all I got to really do at this point is when I meet with the team in January, when we get back, is to just see what they're on, what they want out of this year. And that'll help me further plan out how we want to attack this year. So it's really going to be based on the guys and what they want this season. So, yeah.
And certainly there are some holes to fill when you lose an Ike Simmons and the guys at the receiver position like the Javon Wigginses and Elijah Moss Williamses and Damon McDaniel Jr.'s. But you bring back your quarterback, who's going to be a junior. You bring back your running back, who's going to be a senior. One of your top receivers in Matt Williams, an offensive lineman, a couple of them that I think were all state, and the guy that led you in interceptions in Tawan Pear. So there's certainly the cupboard far from bare there at Maury, and you go for a four-peat. So to you, is the challenge greater, four-peat compared to three-peat, three-peat compared to back-to-back? You got the first one out of the way in 2019, and there's this expectation of you don't want to have that slippage and stay elite. But what keeps driving you to strive for that greatness and achieve what you're doing right now at Maury?
Just never getting comfortable. Again, like I said, I brought up, and that's where, whether it's either players elsewhere, coaches elsewhere, whatever the dynamic of what the program is, comfortability is it's not an option in this program. It's just not. If you want to be comfortable, it's just going to be uncomfortable for you. And that doesn't necessarily mean in a bad way. It's just the standard says we're going to move this way to be able to compete and stay at this level. It's just not going to be handed out. I'm not, it's great having Damo Everett back. They're great having Tayshaun Branch and Matt Williams and Quan and Jaden Hodge. It's good to have all those guys back. It's good to have Paul Hudson, Bryce Parker, Bam, Blunt, the other Bam, Wayne Davis. It's good to have all those guys. But we can't live in comfortability saying, okay, we got this back, so, let's just relax. I'm not that guy that's going to allow players and coaches to relax. If we say that we're on this mission, when we do meet as players and as a staff, I have to uphold whatever mission that we say that we're on to try to do whatever it is that we need to do for this team. So, I'm the same guy that when we won the first one, I'm the same guy now at 4. And I'm just not that guy that's cool with, we got 1 and that's cool. And we got 2. If whatever the kids are going to want out of the season, I have to do my best job of providing that. That's why we're here. That's why I'm here. So, like I said, once we meet in January, whatever they say that they want out the season, if it's just a regional championship, then okay. At least I know what I'm working with. But I know these guys' mindset. I know what they're going to be on. And, I'm not living off of, I hear that, that we've won 4 state titles and 3 in a row. All of that is cool. But how do we maximize this team right here? That's all I'm really going to care about. Everything else, I think if I'm being honest, I think I'll look at that stuff later on when I'm done. Like when I'm done coaching overall, maybe I might look back on that stuff and say, dang, we really accomplished this. We really accomplished that. But right now, if I do that, that's how we come up short, or that's how kids don't get the same opportunities of how we started this thing. So that's what the program is. That's what it's always been. That's how it's going to stay moving. And for those guys who got comfortable, it just wasn't the right situation for them.
No doubt. And lastly, to finish up here with you, we thank you so much for the time. I'll squeeze in, I think, a couple more comments I have for you, too, on the program here with Dyrri McCain, head football coach of the 4-time state champion Maury Commodores, 3 in a row in Class 5 as they beat Highland Springs to win the championship in December at JMU after winning the title in a shutout a year ago over Briar Woods. as you look at the big landscape, I mean, people ask this to you every year too. I mean, your schedule is a meat grinder every year, whether you're playing, Wise or McNamara. You got to go to McNamara this year. You'll host Verina, right? And then you will host Cardinal Gibbons. I believe that's how it is for the 3. And you scrimmaged in the past. I know Phoebus has been a team you scrimmaged in the past. People want to know, and you'll see a state champ in your schedule. And Lake Taylor from the district who brings back a lot back. People want to know about Oscar Smith. The Commodores ever play Oscar Smith? And what's on the horizon for your schedule, I guess, beyond this cycle or scrimmages? Are you a guy that embraces any of those challenges coming up? And what's in front of this team? What do you put out there besides them trying to make history and getting a 4-peat because they won it, yet this team didn't go undefeated like the other ones did?
Yeah, and I guess to that first point of like not going undefeated, I mean that's got its cool part to the story too. Only because there was true adversity that they had to go through to get it. I mean, when you have an unblemished, I mean, you go through stuff, but do you really? I mean, do you really learn about yourself after every win? I think this team had to learn itself and learn about themselves to be able to set this up. So, it's one of my special and probably my favorite one this year, to be honest with you. And it wasn't even an undefeated season, only because of what we had to overcome. And everything else, man, for the program, our schedules have always said that we've been trying to, take next steps and do things that we feel like is going to be best for us moving forward. Trying to get these guys some different experiences on games, being able to travel, being able to see different things, trying to get different things set up, man. We got a college type program where it comes with a bunch of stuff, man, study hall meetings, practice, blah, 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 weight room. And just kind of adding factors of being able to travel, knowing what it's like to get on a bus, or even, hey, maybe a plane here soon. Some way, somehow of trying to create every single type of atmosphere that a lot of these guys will see next level before they get there, so they know what sitting together in a hotel room and eating a pregame meal is like, or a breakfast is like, putting your stuff on the bus, getting your stuff off the bus after a travel trip, going on a plane with each other, getting off of a plane, just stuff that's going to make sense for the program to be able to give these kids every avenue. Again, we're a public school, so, we're not private. We don't, we're doing football wise, but we don't come from much. We do a great job of fundraising. We do a good job of kind of doing those things, but just trying to give different avenues for these guys to see different things, to experience different things, different situations, just to try to give these guys every opportunity to see something that they're going to see or come across when they do get to next level. And a lot of these guys will have an opportunity to play next level. And some of these guys will get a lot of life lessons from what we've done in the program.
That's one of our questions too. Roger wants to know on the IG, will you consider playing someone out of state? I guess he's talking about, like he said, California, Texas, etc. So I'm guessing he's talking about what now your schedule's set, but I'll throw this to you in a different way though. This made me think about this, and I've been a big proponent of this. I like to see, and this is no disrespect or not to those teams in your district or any district, whether it be the Eastern, the Beach, the Southeastern Peninsula, Bay Rivers, across the board, allowing flexibility for teams that don't want to play a Maury if they're a team that's only winning a couple of games a year, to drop them from the schedule, go play someone that's at their level to help them try to make the playoffs. Would you be in favor if they came to you and said you can drop a district team, no penalty, and go get one of those out-of-state games to allow you to have a fourth out-of-district game? I know it's a lot. Some districts like the Beach and Bay Rivers have none, and I think that's a disservice to them and hurts them for the postseason to prepare for teams from other districts, other regions. What's your take on that? Would you consider something like that and be open to it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm open to all that stuff. I mean, again, obviously it's not my decision to make. Sure. But no, I wouldn't be opposed to it. I mean, if they came to me and told me that I had that option, I'm not going to tell them, no, we wouldn't do it. So, I'm up for it. If it ever became an option, and we already have to do that with 3 of our games anyway. So, but I do agree with that. I mean, there can be some changes that go on with scheduling and putting this team with that team and helping some other teams out with just being able to put them in competitive games and stuff like that. I'm in agreement to that. So, I mean, it wouldn't be a thing that I'd be opposed to, honestly.
DZ383622, got a bunch of numbers. I can't read them all. It's too many. Wants to know on the X, do you win a 40-yard dash with your coaches? Oh, he's definitely going to say yes. That's an easy question.
Yeah, easily.
Not even close, right? Who's in second? Who finishes second to you in the 40-yard dash?
Second right now, I probably would say maybe Wayne Davis.
Wayne Davis, as I was thinking too, yeah. Who wins the 40-yard dash though on your team right now? I'm sure you do the races. Who's the fastest guy at the moment?
Ooh, on the team?
Yeah.
Are we
Either
including
the past team or coming back?
Coaches, or we just talk about players?
Are you going to throw yourself in there with the players? Do you win the race?
I mean, they know.
I don't know about maybe about 5, 6, 8 years ago. Maybe pre-Papa days and you get a little older, coach. I don't know. Maybe when you started at 19, I might give it to you. I don't know about now. And by the way, when you first started, not 19, that would have been 9 years ago. That team, your first team was the only one that didn't make the playoffs and win in the postseason. So every other team's won a region championship.
Yep. I probably would say, that's a hard one, man. It would be, it's like four of them that come to mind right now. It's between Vonnie Wiggins, Matt Williams, Isaiah Simmons, Eli Moss. Okay. Those would probably be my guys that I probably would put in a race to handle that. I probably would say that.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm impressed the linebackers in that race with the speedsters, if you will.
Listen, man. To be honest, I don't know if there's a lot of things that Ike Simmons can't do. So
sure.
That's how much I believe in that kid.
Well, it should be a fun quest for a four-peat as Maury will get started back up in January. We want to thank you again for all your time today. Happy holidays to you and your family as you get ready for the 2026 new year. Congratulations. A heck of a job. 41 straight wins in Virginia. Now that streak's going to be expected to get to, I guess that's now going to be something like 54 if you can run the table with that, because you do have 2 out-of-state games with McNamara and with Cardinal Gibbons. So all the best to you and your family. We'll do this again sometime down the road. Catch you then.
Thanks, Matt.
That's Dyrri McCain, head football coach of the Maury Commodores. You've been watching On the Hash with Hatfield right here on 757 Sports Talk as well and CoVA Sports TV. Like, share, and always subscribe. See you later.